For all intents and purposes, as of close of business today, the election will be formally over. In January, Joe Biden will be inaugurated as President of the United States. Now, you can create whatever make-believe scenario you want. The female lawyer, what's her name, Sydney, whatever, she's wrong. She's absolutely wrong. The executive order wouldn't work, just like everything else that she's been wrong about. But in today's video, we're going to really talk about what happened and why it happened. People forget 2015. People forget 2016, the things that were said, the things that were done. It wasn't a pretty time. Let me see if I can remind you guys of some things that were done by our current leader that might have led to this situation. You see, back in 2015, when candidate Donald Trump was attempting to get the nomination of the Republican Party, he pulled no punches. He didn't see himself as being on a team. Lying Ted, low energy Jeb, little Marco, made fun of Carly Fiorina's looks, said stuff about Ben Carson. See, he didn't see himself as part of a team, needing help, needing support. And that cost him. That cost him. And, more importantly, he lied right through his teeth, but most people supporting him at the time didn't see it. I tried to cover it long ago, but my channel was much smaller then. You see, from the get-go, the Republicans said, whoever we decide to nominate, if you want to be part of this process, you have to pledge to support them. It was the very first question asked by Bret Baier at the very first Republican debate back in 2015. And Donald Trump raised his hand and said he would not support or pledge to support whoever the nominee was. And there was this wrangling and back and forth. A few people dropped out, and then finally Donald Trump relented and came out and made this big deal of showing everyone his signed pledge that he would in fact then support whomever the Republican Party chose as their nominee. Then he made a calculation. He made a calculation that most of his supporters wouldn't watch a CNN town hall in Wisconsin. And so he went on that CNN town hall in Wisconsin, and I'll give you the link, you can watch it for yourself, with Anderson Cooper, where he reneged. See, by that time it had gotten down to him or Ted Cruz. They were the only two running. And he reneged and said, I won't support Ted Cruz. He said, Ted Cruz doesn't want my support. I won't support him. And he renounced and reneged on his pledge to support the Republican Party, basically strong-arming them, saying that if you don't support me, I'm going to pull enough votes away from your candidate that it will hand the election to Hillary. So you better support me whether you want to or not. You see, that wasn't forgotten. The Republican Party had no choice at that point. It was a horse race between him and Cruz at that point. But he decided he wanted his way, that he wanted to force the issue. And like I said, I'll show you all of the links, and you can watch them for yourself. I'll show you the one from the first debate where they ask the question. I'll show you the one where he signs his pledge, and then I'll show you the video where he reneges. And so believe me, they didn't forget this. They didn't forget this. There were consequences for this. When all of a sudden, now 4 years later, he needed support, he ran out of money. He ran out of money, and guess what? There's now evidence that in the last days, things got very desperate. You see, I use this picture at the bottom because Alex Jones, for whatever you think about him, back in 2016, you see, he got the job done. He got the job done for Trump. He delivered Trump to the White House. And Fox News rewarded him. In the picture, lower left, that was Alex Jones' payment, quid pro quo, for putting Trump in the White House. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got. Now, top of the picture, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Mark my words, that romance between her and Trump Jr. is going to come to an end very quickly and very unceremoniously. Now, I looked into this, and this is true. Trump advisor Kimberly Guilfoyle reportedly offered to give a lap dance multiple times to the person who donated the most money at campaign fundraisers. Now, this is Business Insider saying this. And apparently there's proof of this, because when confronted, you know what they said? Tim Murtaugh, a spokesman for the Trump campaign, told Politico, quote, Kimberly Guilfoyle is an excellent fundraiser and was a highly valued asset to the president's team. There was nothing offensive about her presentations in context. See, they used to have these hot tub parties with these rich donors in Texas, California, and Arizona, and Florida. And this is what Trump Jr. was doing to raise money. You see, that's how bad it got. You see, they read Mr. Trump the Riot Act and said, hey, you remember back in 2016 when you decided to renege on us? When you decided that you wanted to pretend you were part of our team, sign a pledge, and then renege on it? Well, guess what? You're going to be a one-term president. You're going to be a one-term president, and you don't have any of your infrastructure in place anymore. See, all those guys bailed. Bannon, all the guys that he had in place, they bailed. And your allegation about what happened in those states, you see, that could have been stopped in those states. There were people in place that could have stopped it, and they allowed it. There were people in place that could have stopped what happened in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin. And they looked the other way. Why? Well, you see, that's what happens when you make enemies. That's what happens when you lie, and you renege, and you cheat, and you make enemies, and you think you are an island unto yourself. See, everybody was so excited about this guy supposedly not being part of the problem, not being part of the Republican Party problem, but now we hear 4 years later, and all of a sudden he's a, card-carrying member, team player. Yeah, tell me another one. Tell me another one. This is how bad it got. This is how bad it got. And personally, I think Kushner said no to other attempts and said, no, this other asset, and I'll leave it there, I'll let you guys figure that out, is not going to be on the table. Find someone else. Find someone else to do this. Because I did some looking into this girl, and she was telegraphing. She was telegraphing for a long time. Something was not right. Something was just off about this. See, she used to be married to the liberal governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Why the switch? Why the switch? And I thought here it's like, oh, you know what? Sometimes they have flashes on camera that make things look sheer. And maybe she just got caught in a bad position. That happens to everyone. This was like October, maybe September of this year. Don't tell me that this girl, professional model, Fox News girl, doesn't know what to wear and what not to wear. And this guy was part of it. And that's how bad it got. That's how bad it got. So, look, I'm not alleging that what you said and what has been said about what went on in those states didn't happen. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying it didn't happen in Florida for a reason. Didn't happen in North Carolina, Ohio for a reason. Those were swing states. They wanted them. Florida is the crown jewel of swing states. And we got the job done. We got the job done, but in other places, it didn't get done. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't some brand new technique. There were people that said, we remember. We remember what you did to us in 2016. And when the time comes for you to need us, we're not going to be there. We remember being called names. We remember being labeled. We remember you making us out to be all of the problem and making yourself out to be all of the solution. Well, guess what? Now when you need us, sorry for your luck. Like, share, subscribe.